Hello comic fans, here's Earl Grey. As I've proven with my enthusiastic review of Dorohedoro, I do like my mangas weird. Actually, at least I thought so, the weirder the better. When it comes to more normal stuff, well, I've liked Naoki Urasawa's Monster quite a lot as far as I've read it, and of course Goodnight Pan Pan by Inio Asano, but usually I find it hard to really relate to manga characters. Like so many old comic dudes, I just have problems with the shticks and tropes of manga. But I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk weird in capital letters, and in the end you will see there's some stuff even too weird for me. The first book is by Junji Ito and probably the most normal book of them all. And when a book of Junji Ito is described as relatively normal in comparison, you get a hint about what degree of weird we're talking here. It's Remina, a story about an unknown planet emerging from inside a wormhole, closing in on Earth and threatening to destroy Earth. The planet is discovered by one professor who christened Remina after the name of his daughter. This premise is made clear in the beginning, and after that the whole book is just one long-winded, repetitive chase. A mob hunts down Remina and her father because they blame her for the cosmic threat, while the planet closes in on Earth. Well, I come to like a lot of Junji Ito's other stories. This book here is no recommendation at all. The story could have been told on 6 pages, maybe even less. It's repetitive, boring, and the story is harebrained. No reason is told why the girl Remina is chased. Just because she has the same name and her father discovered the planet? Come on. And the portrait of Remina herself is just annoying. A shy, passive damsel in distress. The rest of the world hates her, and as I said it, actually for no particular reason, with the exception of some older guys who fell, again, for no particular reason, in love with her. And this is another quite annoying trope in mangas, which I don't want to discuss here any further, but it's one of the reasons that keeps me from reading more manga. Anyhow, Remina is very well drawn. I mean, it's Junji Ito after all. And the end looks pretty gorgeous. But I had much more fun with The Pits of Hell by Ebisu Yoshikazu from Breakdown Press. It's a collection of short stories published for the most part in the 70s in a magazine called Garo. Garo specialized in alternate outsider mangas. And I really have to follow that route a bit more. These stories are whimsical, hilarious, raw, amateurish, all in the best sense. As you can see, they are pretty clumsily drawn, but they have energy and heart. The title story is actually called Teachers Damned to the Pits of Hell, about a teacher losing his cool. A topic I obviously can relate to. There's a lot of violence here, beheadings and stuff. With this special cartoony quality that makes it clear it's all just in the mind of the creator and the beholder. Another pretty interesting story in this book here is Wiped Out Workers, about the president of a corporation who has to deal with the sudden fatigue of all his managers and employees. And he's not really able to cope with it well. This little collection comes with essays and short explanations by Ebisu Yoshikazu himself in the back, or in the front, because it reads from back to front, as usual. It's surely not for everyone, but I really dug it. Within the normal reading order, that's maybe the first difference. Otherwise, it's pretty same stuff with Tadao Tsuge's Slumwolf, published by New York Reading Comics. The short stories within this collection are from the late 60s and 70s. They were published originally in that magazine Garo as well, but the drawing style looks much more sophisticated than in Pits of Hell. The stories evoke a lot of atmosphere, very ambiguous, maybe dreamlike, well, dreams with lots of senseless violence in them. And despite all of the ambiguity, there's a lot of plot with a central character, or a lot of plot. It's some kind of plot in it, with a central character connecting most of the stories to a cycle of fine, interesting, moody short stories. This book is my favorite of the books that I show you today. And it contains a long essay as a bonus to give you some background information about the life and times of Tadao Tsuge. I got Der Casanova complex, the Casanova complex, don't know how to translate it, by Yoji Fukuyama, because I could get it for a discount price, and maybe you should get it too, as long as you don't pay the regular price. I have to admit, the premise is quite catchy to me, and even flipping through the pages you think, that's something out there. Well, it is, but when you read it, it's just one of these simple ideas stretched out to graphic novel size. It's about a dude who leaves a train on some mysterious station called Urushima that is mapped nowhere. And Urushima is some kind of adult wonderland where everyone is screwing everyone. And our dude shares the fun. End of story. Well, I have to admit, it made me chuckle sometimes, but it got boring before the middle of the book, and that's not good, especially considering the subject of the story. And the drawings, quite honestly, are not too remarkable either. Which can't be said about Shintaro Kago, who can draw some mean panels. Super Dimensional Lovegun is published by Denpa and collects the most batshit crazy, nauseating, disturbing stuff I've ever read. And that includes easily everything by Junji Ito. Ito's weirdest stories are fairy tales in comparison to this book here. Quite honestly, this book really crosses the line even for me. There's a story, just for example, a story of girls wearing their abortions or the ghosts of their abortions as some kind of jewelry around on their shoulders and competing with each other who has the most of them abortions. The back cover blurb calls Cargo stories surreal. Well, that's the way to put it. The pages and panels I show you here are just some of the few that I can show with good conscience. Well, I don't know. I keep this book as a document how far an artist can go nowadays without being censored. That's interesting, I guess, but not much more. Do I like it or recommend it? Rather not. So, thanks for listening and watching. Goodbye.